Welcome everyone to round 3 of the 2002 AMA Chevy Trucks US Motocross Championships. Today, it's the 125cc class. Everyone, I'm Davey Coombs, and joining us later will be former champion David Bailey and Cameron Steele. But before we get to the action here at High Point, things have already been happening. A big shakeup in the 125 class. First of all, KTM Red Bull rider Grant Langston, second in the point standings, did not even make the trip out here from California. He hurt his knee, had some surgery done on it. It did not go well. No telling how long Langston will be out. And then there's James Stewart, the biggest surprise of all. Yesterday afternoon during practice, James fell and twisted his knee. He tried to ride a little bit of practice this morning, but just could not take the pain. They took him to the hospital. He is going to wait for the last possible moment before he even decides whether or not he will ride the Sobe High Point National. Now let's go to David Bailey with our Suzuki track map.
Taking a look at this track that runs counterclockwise, High Point Raceway in Pennsylvania. Beautiful layout. The weather is held off. The fans, I have a feeling, would have been here anyway. But they're going to like it even more today. The soil is perfect after yesterday. It was a little bit muddy. Big sweeping first corner has not changed since 1977. A beautiful sight with all the flags there as you pull into this racetrack. Some trees have been cleared to make the spectating even better as they work their way back up that hill down Bradshaw Boulevard.
Taking a look at our point standings, you see Chad Reed in third, but he has an excellent chance to move up. For more on that, let's go to the third member of our team down the starting gate, Cameron Steele.
The story down here at the starting line continues to be injuries. Grant Langston, number 2 in the points, is not here for this event. Also injured, your number 1 rider, James Stewart, got hurt in practice. He's at the starting gate, but I heard it was even tough for him to get his riding gear on. How much can he endure? How much pain that is? I mean, the kid is strong, the kid is fast. Can he win it while he's hurt? But I'll tell you what, Chad Reed has been phenomenal in practice. It's the first dirt starting gate we have of the year, and he looks fast. He's set to go. He is super excited. Should be a great race. And let's not forget our champion, Mike Brown. The guy's been on fire, and I think he wants to win this as bad as anybody.
Well, one of the big things here at High Point Raceway is one of only 4 tracks on the circuit that still has a dirt start, and that is something that might play into Chad Reed's hands.
Yeah, the cement starting was for sure difficult. As a young rider, I rode it a lot, but pretty much had them taken away when I was around 11 or 12. So, you know, it's been some years since I rode on the concrete, and for sure, I struggled like a lot of other people. There was, I had no excuses. Everybody else was on the line just the same as much as I was. So, just got to be used to it. I think we have a lot to go, so just practice them and get them down.
There you see the 125 class down on the starting line, ready for the first moto, the Sobe High Point Nationals. So take a look at our Suzuki starting lineup. Of course, James Stewart leading the way, but we already know he is hurt. You see Chad Reed, number 1, Mike Brown, really ready for a breakthrough ride. A little further down, Michael Brandish, Justin Bucklew, Tyson Hansel. One rider you will not be seeing this afternoon is 125 West Region champion Travis Preston. He hurt himself in practice. David, he's had bad luck ever since he won that title.
He has. He's been riding with a fractured foot. He didn't think it was that bad. It kept getting worse, and it turns out he might have a few more fractures they didn't know about. And looking at the dirt here, after yesterday's morning practice session, I had no idea that it would dry out this well.
Card sideways, you see number 50, Casey Johnson on the inside, and they take off, and right there goes James Stewart, and up the gut, it's Chad Reed instead.
Stewart wheeling a little bit, had to back out of it, and finally Chad Reed and Brown get the start they need.
You see a big pile up there in the first turn. Looks like Ivan Tedesco, and there's Tyson Hansel, one of the privateers we just mentioned. Already up front, Mike Brown goes inside of Chad Reed, takes over the lead. You see Michael Byrne and Ernesto Fonseca filling out the top board, and then Larry Ward comes in behind them.
This crowd loves Mike Brown. See Reed trying to find a smooth line over there on the right side down the stair steps, and this is exactly what these guys have been needing to beat James Stewart off the line. Stewart running about 6th right now.
Then you see Mike Brown holding the lead right there on the inside. Larry Ward goes by Fonseca, so you have a 125 2-stroke out front, and then a couple 4-strokes right behind him.
They're going to have an advantage on some of the uphills. Those off-camber corners where it's tough to hook up. Good luck getting around Mike Brown. This is Mike Brown's track. This is where there's Mike Brown banners all over the place. He's been needing to get out front like this. And the only other time he had the lead like this, he won.
Mike Brown coming up through the infield. He takes the big double. There you see Fonseca, Ward, and then the number 27 of Roderick Tane. The rest of the 125 pack joins the chase. Brown down into the off cameras now. There you see Fonseca. He gets up and he gets around Larry Ward in the GP section. So Fonseca back into third, but there goes Ward on the inside. Fonseca will hold it.
See how hard it is for the 125 to try to hold that inside. Ward went right around there with that nice tracking four-stroke power. Still couldn't get it done on Fonseca, though.
Down Bradshaw Boulevard they come. There is Larry Ward right now holding down fourth, and James Stewart right behind him. See them coming around to complete the first lap, but Stewart's going to try an outside line down over the double, and he pins right around Larry Ward. David, that's the same corner where Stewart crashed in practice on Saturday.
Isn't it amazing, Davey, the way this kid will make a mistake somewhere and he'll go right back to that same section and fix everything. I watched him do that in Supercross when he would crash. He wouldn't even go a full lap. He'd go right back to the section and tackle it again. Just to let the track know, hey, nobody on the track is going to beat me, and the track isn't going to beat me either. He's already got the pressure on Fonseca now, and watch how he doesn't follow. He's always using a slightly different line, creating opportunity.
There you see Stewart trying an outside line around Fonseca as they go down through the stair steps, and right there he just held it on longer, David.
Just muscled his way through it. It's the same line Reed using that first lap. Reed made it look a little bit smoother. James really taking some chances here in these opening laps, especially through a corner like that. That right knee, having to really be careful not to get that thing hooked up in a rut. He only rode one lap of practice this morning, so he's still learning the track right now.
Stewart definitely not showing much favoritism to that knee. To go into the back section, he continues to chase after the leaders. Right now it's Mike Brown, Chad Reed, Stewart, and then Ernesto Fonseca. Speedboat's presentation of AMA Motocross is brought to you by Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. Honda, performance first. And by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. Speaking of Suzuki, right there you see Travis Pastrana. He's in the 250 class now, but he's also in the sidelines for the cast. As we return to the action here at the Sobe Nationals, High Point Raceway, Mike Brown, your leader in the 125 class. And there you see Chad Reed not giving him any berth as they get through this first moto.
He's been able to maintain this gap, and even though Reed had some pressure from Stewart earlier, he still didn't seem to close that much. He's inching up slightly, but not enough to really make Brown nervous. Now keep an eye on this circle up here in the first corner. Okay, we're going to highlight a pack for you, and right in the middle of that pack in the light color there is Larry Ward. And watch this domino effect going into the first corner. Ward makes a little bump to his right. Boom, that guy hits the next guy, and they all go down to the outside. Just when I was thinking, Davey, that this High Point first corner was the safest of them all, we have a pile up there, and then this was the pass. Of course, Stewart getting around Fonseca, closing it up on Reed a little bit, but he has not been able to close that gap since he got close. If anything, he has lost some ground, and Fonseca is all over him again.
Does something like that get in Ernesto Fonseca's mind? I mean, he knows James Stewart's hurt. Everyone knows he's hurt. But here he is going like wide open down the toughest hill on the track, right past the rider.
Well, I think what they're going to look at really is what happens at the end of the series, because everyone knows that James is great here and there. He's looking down at his right side. I don't know why.
And right there, Fonseca, just like that, goes back by him in the third.
He's an inconsistent kid, you know. They all know he's great, and they can't really worry themselves too much about a kid that seems to have these like Superman powers to be able to come through the pack and do things with no breaks, with injuries and all that. But at the end of the series, if that consistency isn't there, then they get the last lap.
Well, it's hard to tell where Stewart's motivation comes from. He's so young and new to the circuit, but as far as Ernesto Fonseca goes, right now, he's got his teammate Ricky Carmichael betting on him. They have a bet back in the Honda truck. Carmichael won't shave his beard or facial growth or whatever you want to call it until Fonseca gets on the podium here at one of these 125 Nationals. And you know RC's fiancée Ursula can't be very happy about that.
Yeah, well, it's looking good right now because Fonseca is able to get around Stewart, put some distance on him. He's running third right now. The way he's been riding lately, he's shown some signs that podium would be no problem. I'm sure Ricky would be glad to have him get that since they have a week off after this. He'd be going to Southwick with a beard.
There you see Brent Myron telling his rider to dig, dig, dig. That's about, you don't have to write down the board when you're actually doing the digging yourself, David.
I love it. Great shot of Reed coming through as well. Smacking into that wall right there and actually high-sided a bit, but got right back on the power. He's riding as hard as he can. I don't think he's holding anything back right here, and Brown is holding him off.
Let's reset the playing field. Right now, Mike Brown, your leader. Chad Reed is second. Ernesto Fonseca holding down third. Then it's James Stewart. And finally, the fifth place rider after a poor start is the Blimpie Suzuki of local hero Brandon Jessamine.
He has been working his way up pretty strong. He's got the same pace these guys have, but he's nowhere near him, so they're just pretty much staying even right now. But if Jessamine gets a start here at this High Point track, he will be a factor for these guys.
Now to the far side of the track, it looks like Reed has actually reeled in that little bit of ground, that little bit of a cushion that Mike Brown had as they go into the back section. This is called the Sobey sweeper. You see he's got a shot on the inside here, David.
He's definitely applying the pressure now. The crowd's into it. Brown can feel that pressure. Reed knows he's got him.
Little inside out there as they come up over the double jump. You hear the fans yelling into this hairpin, and then they'll be down in the off-camera section. And if there's any track on the circuit so far that looks like a GP track to Chad Reed, here he goes right on the inside. And just like that, Chad Reed goes by Mike Brown. And this is the first time this year, David, that he's had the lead in the 125 Nationals.
Well, I'd be worried about keeping it if you got
right
Brown.
there, Brown almost got him back there.
Yeah, Brown's the kind of guy that'll go right back in there and get it back from you.
All year long at Supercross, it seems like Chad Reed has had Mike Brown's number.
Well, this is the outdoor series, and Brown has everybody's number. He's not going to let Reed just have this thing, I don't think. He's going to fight for a while, but something to consider in Mike Brown's preparation this week. He hurt his right foot, I think it was, at Hangtown. Actually kind of squished the end of his toe off, and that's pretty painful. He's been on crutches. He only rode yesterday. That was the first time he rode a bike this week, so he may just be a little rusty, and Reed is taking advantage of all these injuries and doing exactly what he needs to do is get a win.
With some of the deep berms you're seeing forming up here in the corners at High Point, maybe Reed caught that foot, or rather I should say Brown caught his foot in one of those ruts. You see the pro circuit mechanics trying to urge number one on, but right now Reed starting to pull out a little bit of a gap on the defending national champion.
I'm anxious to see if Brown really tries to force it.
Oh, right. Sorry, David. Right there, Mike Brown goes down. Mike Brown, just a little slip there. He's able to get right back up, but that is going to cost him as far as wanting to win this moto over Chad Reed goes.
That's a tricky corner, too. I've crashed there a couple of times. Now watch Reed's decision right here. Back to the inside. He wheelies over that little braking bump, dials it up down the inside. Brown can hear him coming. He's trying to get back over there, but it's too late. And Reed also could have just taken Brown a little wide, but you don't want to make Brown mad.
You see Chad Reed give him a little glance there, and now powers him back up the hill. Now this is where he fell, David.
Doesn't look like he hit a braking bump or anything like that. He just didn't get into that rut quite right. The front wheel wasn't fully planted. The rear wheel went over it. Kind of a goofy little fall right there, and that's just hand it to Chad Reed. He's the kind of guy that we talked about it all Supercross series long, how this guy is smart, he's patient, he's in the right place at the right time, and here's a perfect example. He's starting to pull away from these guys. He proved it indoors, and he's proving it again here outdoors. We'll be back.
Back here today at High Point Raceway, much different conditions as you see Steve Boniface being pressured by Danny Smith, the Blimpie Suzuki team. This is the battle for 8th place as they head down in the same off-camera turn where Chad Reed passed Mike Brown, and just like that, Smith does it again.
Yeah, that inside seems to be panning out a whole lot better than the outside, even if you're not trying to go for a pass. And it's good to see Smith start to get things together. He had a tough year in Supercross. Probably wishing it was a little bit muddy here today, Dave, because his best finish so far was that second moto in that horrible Hangtown mud.
At the same time, Danny has had 4 straight top 5 finishes in the last 2 Supercross races and the first 2 Nationals. Now you see the white flag for our leader, Chad Reed, on the YZ250F. Again, this is the first time this year that Reed has led a National, and also the first time for the Yamaha 4-stroke motorcycle.
Well, it was just a matter of time before Reed was able to pick up where he left off in Supercross.
There you see his mechanic, Zach White, out there to give him the go-ahead. Working together this year, those two have already bagged the 125 East Region Supercross Championship. Right now, they're in a battle with James Stewart, Mike Brown, and the rest of the star-studded 125 class for the AMA National Championship.
Reed just lay it down into that off-camber berm. There goes Brown. So the lead is not big enough for Reed to cruise this last lap. And I have a feeling, though, that Brown has decided, you know what, I'm not going to try and race this guy all the way to the finish line for nothing. I'll keep pressure on him as best I can, but at the same time, trying to save a little something for the second moto, because his fitness isn't really where it should be.
A toe injury doesn't seem that bad when you think about things like broken arms or twisted knees or whatever, but it's got to be bothersome laying off some of these jumps.
Hey, I smashed into my pinky finger once, okay? And as dorky as that sounds, I couldn't even ride. The vibration of the bike itself made it so painful, and having a toe jammed in that boot, especially if you land hard off a jump or have to dab your foot down on the ground, catch it in a rut, it hurts. Plus, you know, like I said, his routine coming into this race has been completely interrupted, so he's not on form like he would be.
Well, this would be a shot in the record books for Chad Reed. He's already got several places, but this would mark the first time ever that an Australian rider has won a round, or at least a moto, in AMA motocross history. Now you see Mike Brown from Piney Flats, Tennessee, never going to give up, still in second place, kind of within sight of Reed, but like you said, David, he's kind of cruising, but at the same time going just fast enough to hold that cushion.
Yeah, he's got to make sure that he's pulled third off, which seems like he's got a pretty good gap now, and he's just staying close enough to push Reed to have to look back over his shoulder, which he's done a couple of times this lap, but he doesn't have far to go now.
There you see him preload that big jump to enter onto Bradshaw Boulevard, and then it's just down to the checkered flag for Chad Reed, the first moto winner here at the Sobe High Point National. Mike Brown will take second, and then it's a ways back to Ernesto Fonseca, who finishes third, rounding out the top five with that late start, Brandon Jessamine. Sixth place go to Eric Sorby, the Frenchman for the Pro Circuit team, then Danny Smith, Michael Byrne in eighth, Casey Johnson, his first points of the year in ninth, and then KTM Red Bull Steve Boniface rounding out the top 10. Let's go down to Cameron. He's with our winner.
A couple of injuries in the season can really make a lot of things turn. Grant's not here, Bubba injured. How does that weigh in your plan on what you do, or you just got to win every time?
No, I want to win all the time. I want to do the best I can, and you know, Grant and Bubba are injured. It's good for points, but it's not good for the championship and the race, because I love racing those guys. I want to be the best, and to be the best, you got to beat the best. So, I'm looking forward for those guys to get strong again and we can go race.
Just another day at the office for Yamaha of choice, Chad Reed. He's got his first moto win in the books. Here's how he did it with the pass down in the off-camber on Mike Brown. And speaking of Mike Brown, Cameron Steele is now with our second place finisher.
Mike, a brilliant start to that race. Talk about what happened where we couldn't see you.
Yeah, you got around me on the backside back there, my arms got a little tight. We're not riding all week, I kind of expected a little bit, but yeah, I got the speed. I know I can do it the second race. I started loosening up after he got around me and started going faster, but second moto I'll be good.
You actually had a little fall there after he got by you. It seemed like you picked up a lot of time on him at the end of the moto. Maybe conditioning coming in. I'm not sure. You seem really fast at the end of the moto.
Yeah, I feel good. Like I said, about halfway through, my arms got pumped up on me there, and I was riding a little cautious. And then when he got around me, I relaxed and started going faster. So I'll be good for the next moto. Never second moto pump up. So good.
Right, a little bit about the foot. How's the foot feeling, and are you gonna set anything up differently for moto number 2?
No, it's better I thought it would be. Coming Thursday, coming to the race, I think no way I can ride. I was on crutches, and yesterday was the first day I got on the bike, and it was okay. It hurts, but when you're on the track, you can't feel it that bad.
Taking a look at some of the upcoming races on the U.S. Motocross schedule. For more information, log on to www.usmotocross.com. So let's get ready for the second moto. That's not the best dance you'll see played on ESPN2, but not bad.
Yeah, I'd like to see Agassi jump one of these doubles.
We're back at the Sobe High Point Nationals, taking a look at our Suzuki starting lineup for the second 125 moto. Chad Reed leading the way the first time out, then Mike Brown, Fonseca, Stewart, Brandon Jessamine. A little further down, Arena Cross champion Josh Demuth, Honda rider Chris Gosler, privateer Jeff Gibson. See the Blippy Suzuki rider Shane Best and Buddy Antonez, and Matt Walker, we saw go down that first moto, is back down on the starting gate. He's on the far outside, but he's going to give it another go. Now let's go down to Cameron Steele, who is on the starting line as we get set for the second 125 moto.
Well, from the starting line down here, everybody's talking about how good a start Chad Reed got. It's his first dirt start of the year. He got a good start, went on to win. Mike Brown was leading. He had a fall over, he had some arm pump. That cost him the win, but can he come back in this moto? The guy's phenomenally strong, has an injured toe, but he can do the impossible sometimes. People believe, he believes. Let's not forget James Stewart, that he has an injured knee, but it hasn't hurt him that bad. He had fast lap times in Moto 1. It's time to go racing. Moto 2, time right now.
And the gate drops, and right there you see James Stewart. He got pinched off. Stewart way in the back as Larry Ward takes the whole shot on the Moto XXX Yamaha. There you see Chad Reed. Oh, right there, a pile up down in the first turn. It looks like Steve Boniface, and that is the 37 of Danny Smith holding his arm. And there you see Travis Elliott, 105. Big pile up in the first turn, but back out at the front of the pack, Larry Ward, your whole shot. There is Sorby as they wind their way around this Mount Morris track.
That was a whole shot and a half, and he still has that nice lead. And that first corner pileup, it almost collected James Stewart, who had a bad start and came through all that locked bars as one of those guys, but he's still back out on the track. There he's on the right side coming over the jump now.
Stewart back at about 15th. You may have caught a glimpse of Mike Brown, number 1. He is your 7th place rider as they start up the back section of this high point circuit. This is the first lap of the second 125 moto.
Fonseca's up there. Maybe those guys will get to shave.
Already Reed starting to put pressure on Larry Ward. Right there, Larry Ward got out of that corner nicely. Eric Sorby, the 3rd place rider on the Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Ernesto Fonseca, another good start. He mentioned how important a start was on this track, David Bailey, and he's right back up there.
Well, he's actually ahead of Mike Brown this time, who finished in front of him in the first moto, but he's got his sights set. He can look right past Sorby there to Chad Reed and keep an eye on him. He's the one that won the first moto, and great gauge for Fonseca to have in the second early going.
Up through the off-camera, this is your battle for the lead. Larry Ward out front, probably the oldest rider in the class right now. He leads way into the off-camera. Larry Ward's probably been coming to High Point for about 15 years, David. There goes Reed on the inside. He's going to take an early shot at the leader. It doesn't work out. So they come around the back section. Now they will start down Bradshaw Boulevard. Bunny hop over this big jump, and then it's down the start straightaway. And it looks like Reed is pulled up alongside of him. And already Chad Reed goes back into the lead. He's going to lead the a little sideways off the tunnel jump there. Chad Reed back in the lead over Larry Ward. Sorby is 3rd. Fonseca is 4th. And Brandon Jessamine has now moved up into 5th.
Still no Stewart. He's capable of coming through the pack and getting the points he needs to just sort of limit the damage today. But he can't afford to give Chad Reed too much. If he gets within striking distance in that points lead, then Stewart might have to start riding a little bit differently.
And I was mistaken. I should have said that was Josh Demuth who's moved up into 5th place. Josh Demuth having his best outdoor national ride of the season after taking away Buddy Antonez's crown in Arena Cross. Well, actually, Antonez gave it away because he didn't ride the series.
And I'm surprised with Brown right now. It seemed like he didn't have a good first lap. Actually gave up a couple of spots.
You're watching Eric Sorby right now. He's the newest addition to the U.S. Motocross circuit. He came here on David Villeman's advice to Mitch Payton. Shows you how much those French riders stick together. Villeman leads the Yamaha factory team, and he tells him to hire a Kawasaki rider. Speaking of, there's James Stewart as he goes around Antonez, triples through that stadium section, and now he's got a hook in Brandon Jessamine.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now, Davey. He was almost dead last going into the first corner. Locked bars for those guys going through the corner. And already up inside the top 10, the leaders are just around these next couple of corners for him. Unbelievable ride in that first lap.
There you see Sorby. This is the battle for second, putting a little bit of pressure on Larry Ward as they cut down through the infield. Sorby, his first visit to High Point Raceway, just like Chad Reed. Did a pretty good job here for the High Point fans. 20,000 strong this afternoon. First time in about 4 years it hasn't actually rained here. Maybe they'll quit calling it Mud Point.
Yeah, I said at the top of the show that I think they'd be here anyway. They got banners everywhere. They've been here all weekend having a great time, and just glad for once that the rain has held off. It's actually gotten a little bit more overcast, but these guys don't have the threat of rain like they did last week at Hangtown, but it's pretty humid out there. That could play a part at the end.
And right on the inside, Mike Brown takes away the 4th place position from the Honda Fonseca. Brown comes in on the inside, and now you see 2 pro circuit riders in 3rd and 4th.
Jessamine's hanging with that as well. Jessamine just popping over that jump, staying in contact with these guys. He's been studying Brown and trying to make some of his moves. Now he's got the lines of Brown and Fonseca, 2nd and 3rd in the first moto to study.
And there you see Larry Ward couldn't quite get over that double and gave Sorby a chance to move up and get a little closer as they go over what is usually the infield triples. Eric Sorby was the only 125 rider jumping that this morning in practice, but a little too hard to do it. Right there he tries an inside line, but Ward holds it. Sometimes you see 125s jump that uphill triple, David. The first rider to do was Brian Swink back in 1991, but right now the track's just not set up. There goes Sorby on the inside.
Well, he worked for that one. He really made Ward think a little bit. Ward just left a little bit too much room for that sweeper. He probably figured, well, he's not going to get me here. I got the powerful bike. I've been around for years. I know the track. This line will work. Not good enough. Sorby's just more aggressive right now.
There you see Mike Brown. He is in 4th place. But right now, you got to be wondering, are these guys letting Chad Reed get away?
Well, I don't think they mean to. Here comes Brown. Following his teammate. He's making his move through the pack. He has to let off a little bit right there because of a wheelie. But I think these guys are going as hard as they can, but they're so concerned with each other that it's not a fast enough pace. And now Stewart's catching it.
And Fonseca goes by Larry Ward. So in one lap, Larry Ward went from 2nd to 5th. There you see Brandon Jessman in 6th. Now, Sorby was a big surprise in Supercross. He came over halfway through the season, but according to some of the French riders like Sebastian Tortelli and David Villemin, he's actually better at motocross. And now Jessman starting to put the pressure on Ward, and right behind him, like you said, David Bailey, it's James Stewart.
Well, look at the crown he has made up. Oh, that's the right knee that he injured.
Stuck it out pretty severely there.
Every time he does that, I cringe, because I had a knee injury for a little while. I just kind of kept secret, but it hurts to try to ride with that. It's okay as long as you don't stick it somewhere bad like you just did.
And 2 more riders go by Larry Ward. That was Jessamine and Stewart you saw there. 4th place Fonseca. Now Stewart goes by the inside, and he's by Jessamine as well. So Stewart making short work of some top 10 guys. There you see your battle of arena cross champions. Antonez, the old one, and Vermouth, the new one, as they go through the off-camera. And Fonseca and Stewart get together coming out of the GP section.
They're still going at him. Looked like Stewart had a run at him going into that tight left in the back. Fonseca's not going to have any of it.
You see Stewart trying to keep that Kawasaki down low on Bradshaw Boulevard as his mechanic Jeremy Albrecht keeps an eye on him, and he makes the pass. So Stewart has now gone from mid-pack all the way up to 4th place. The question is now, can he reel in Chad Reed? So as we go to a commercial break, the running order is Chad Reed, Mike Brown, Eric Sorby, and James Stewart. Welcome back to the Sobe High Point Nationals. You're watching the battle for 5th as Brandon Jessman works on Team Honda's Ernesto Fonseca. This race is a sort of a homecoming for Jessman. He lives right above Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he's got 60 people here that he bought tickets for, and some of them with the UPMC Sports Medicine Group are conducting a fitness survey and test on motocross riders like Brandon, trying to figure out where they rate in the world of fitness. And no sooner we say that, Brandon goes by Fonseca to take over 5th place. David, right in front of him, you see James Stewart.
Yeah, and James is struggling a little bit. I think he's probably, the pain is getting to the point now where he just wants to see the white flag, and now he's got all this pressure and has to step it up even more.
They come on Bradshaw Boulevard, and Stewart getting all kinds of pressure now from Jessman on the Suzuki as they hit the jumps, come across what will be our finish line here in a short while. This is now the battle for 4th. Team Kawasaki Stewart, your series points leader, Brandon Jessman, who was 10th coming into this race. Behind the starting gate, up over the triple jumps. Jessman looks pretty solid.
He does, and the way that Stewart went down that stair step and into that right-hander was just beautiful, and Jessman was all over him, so he's not impressed.
See Stewart starting to look down at his bike there as he came out of the corner, maybe missed a gear as they go around the sweeping first turn. Little inside out by Jessman. Might try a pass here. Well, look at that Stewart. Nice, right into that berm and sticking that leg out.
And he has to, there's nowhere for that leg to go, actually. He kind of stuck it in the ground, and it bent up by the handlebar, and he's taking chances on that knee. He has to hold off Jessman. That's a couple of points right there. He doesn't want to give up to Reed.
Right ahead of them, you could see the third, and right there he stuck it in a berm again, and there goes Jessman just like that. Side by side up to the top of the hill. It's a sprint race. Stewart tries the outside again. Jessman's got that inside line. Back down the bottom. Stewart somehow held off that pass, David.
I don't know how.
Right there, as soon as we say that, there goes Jessman around the outside.
Looked like he had it. I was going to say, what a battle. And I'm surprised. He is looking down at the bike a lot. Seems like he did it again right there. But it was a great fight to try to get that position back. You don't see that very often these days. When somebody catches a rider and passes them, it's usually that's that. But Stewart is not like that. Neither is Carmichael in that 250 class.
Not very often you see a rider go around the outside. Right here is where James Stewart stuck it in that berm.
Yeah, so you twist that knee around a little bit more. And And I cringe every time he does that, and he's doing it a lot.
Right there, he held on. It was a sprint race to the top of the hill. Surprised that Stewart was able to get going that fast. Look at that, back wheels actually touched right there.
This is after the left at the top. Stewart fights, and watch him hit this braking bump right here. Hop into the corner.
Guides it in on the front wheel, but Justman's got that outside line, and he slungshot around him. That was that.
Yeah, Stewart didn't quite get into that berm the way he wanted to, I don't think, after riding the nose into it. And Justman had a better setup going to the next left. And he is catching people.
And right there you see that's the battle for second between Sorby and his teammate Mike Brown, and Brown goes around the outside and Justman comes by on the inside. So in one lap Justman moves into the top 5 all the way up to third. Brown takes a look over his shoulders. They go by the mechanics there. He's got to be wondering, where in the world did this guy come from?
Well, it's a big difference whether it's your teammate back there or somebody else, and that's probably what Brown wanted to know. He heard a lot of noise back there. He looks over again. And he better protect that inside from now on, because Jessamine is on fire right now.
Come across the top section. Right there is where all Justman's fans hang out. You can see him waving. That's his old District 5 crowd. They park up there at the top of the hill every year, right above the Dunlop double, route branded on. Now they go down into the stadium whoop section. Again, this is, oh, and Mike Brown is out of control, and down he goes, David. Mike Brown goes down through the stadium whoops. You saw his teammate Eric Sorby get in, and David, he looks hurt.
Oh, that is too bad. His teammate Sorby was trying to, that's Eric Kehoe right there from Team Honda, it looks like, trying to tell people to look out. Let's see if we can see what happens here. I think he gets his leg caught up in the...
Caught a soft spot there.
Right there.
Slick spot coming off that first jump.
Yeah, the first little part of contact he made with the ground is what tweaked his right leg. It's either his foot or knee. I hope it's not something serious. Sorby bumps into him.
Well, it looked like the damage was done before that.
I can't believe Mike is out of this. So imagine what it's going to feel like for Reed to come in and know that something's happening to Stewart. He's dropping back a little bit. He's not making the ground he once was. Langston is out of this thing. He is looking like a real contender for the championship now.
James Stewart in 4th place right now, chasing the Kawasaki of Eric Sorby. And again, every time he puts that leg out, you just got to cringe.
Well, at least that time it was the other side. What a nice move. I cannot believe that he was able to squeeze through there and not make contact. Sorby goes back after him. But you can see Stewart had that plan coming into that right-hander. He just knifed it in there. And take a look at this again. He's dragging that left foot just because there's no time to get it back in front of him. He's got this idea down here in this right-hander there. As soon as Sorby goes a little bit wide, you see Stewart looking to the inside. Boom, right in there. But usually the only room between a bike and that inside is the foot's there. And Stewart still somehow squeezes by, but he's still looking down at the motorcycle. I don't know what's going on.
We see Mike Brown on the side of the track. Number 1's day is over here at High Point. Speedboard's presentation of AMA Motocross is brought to you by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. And by Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. Honda, performance first. Joining the battle for third in the second 125 moto here at the Sobe High Point Nationals, that is James Stewart, holding off the Honda of Ernesto Fonseca and then Eric Sorby. We have already lost Mike Brown to an injury. Grant Langston, of course, not here. David Bailey. The whole national title chase is thrown back up in the air. Yeah,
I cannot believe what's happened today. And James looked like he dropped off the pace there for a while, then got back up into this battle, but he's still looking down at the bike, and I cannot figure out what he's looking at.
Stewart was on fire at the early part of the moto, and oh, he is slowing down now. David, you're right. There is something definitely wrong with that bike. Ernesto Fonseca goes by, and you can see the smoke coming from right off the tank. I don't know if that's radiator fluid, gasoline, or what, but James Stewart is now really slowing down. It's definitely not his knee. He throws his hand up. I think his bike just died.
Yeah, he knows what's happening. That thing is going to seize. There's no way he can continue. That's water-cooled bikes are great, but if you're losing the fluid like he just lost it, that's it. No points.
James Stewart, the series points leader, DNF. You were talking about his first mistake of the year, and there it happens, but it wasn't his knee. It turns out it was the motorcycle.
Bikes don't just break these days, so I'm thinking that could have been the contact that he had in the first corner.
There you see the hand go up for Stewart. He excuses himself from the race. And on the other side of the track, Ernesto Fonseca's gone down. Let's go to Cameron.
Never a good sign to see one of your top guys on the side of the track. James Stewart racing with an injured knee today. James, you're on the side of the track. Is it injury or something wrong with the motorcycle?
No, it's my bike blew. I mean, I tell you, it was running good. I mean, I saw it. I think I hit a rock, and it knocked the radiator loose, and it was starting to leak water, so it wasn't nobody's fault. But so far, ever since I've been here, I lost my luggage when I came here. I hurt my knee Saturday practice, so I haven't had the best of luck. So, oh well, we'll be back next week at Southwick.
David, I was wondering where that blue gear came from. We're used to seeing James in pink or yellow or red or something like that, but not the lucky gear for him. A bad weekend here at High Point, but for Chad Reed, an almost perfect weekend. He won the first moto convincingly, and now he's just got Bradshaw Boulevard to go before he wins his first ever AMA National overall win. The first for Australia, the first this year for YZ250F, and he is your new points leader as he goes across the checkered flag.
What an easy day for Chad Reed. Unbelievable turn of events here in this 125 class, and it's not over yet.
See the checkered flag come out. Brandon Jessman will be your second place rider after his own comeback. Finishing third, Eric Sorby. So first, second, and third, best ever finishes for those riders. Ernesto Fonseca, that last lap crash drops him all the way back to 8th. And David, he better hope that bet with Ricky Carmichael was for a moto podium, because if it's overall, they're going to have beards by the time they get to Southwick.
They will have beards. That had to be for the podium. Here's a look at the pass for the lead. Larry Ward leading early. Not enough for Chad Reed, but good enough for 5th overall today for Larry Ward. And if Stewart had a bad weekend, then Chad Reed experienced the complete opposite. His first moto win, his first overall, and points lead.
Chad couldn't ask for a better day.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I really needed this. I was been struggling with my outdoors, and I really needed this to boost me along. And you know, I had a perfect day today, and you know, I'm just happy for myself and you know, Yamaha, Boost Mobiles, just everybody for keeping me going. And you know, I've been whining a little bit. You know, let's make this bike better. Let's make this bike better. And you know, they've gotten better and better. And this weekend it proves it. So you know, I want to thank them a lot.
For Chad Reed, the overall winner of the Sobe High Point National, Brandon Jessman, a 5.2 for second. And just like Reed, this may be just what Jessman needs for the rest of the series.
Oh yeah, the first moto I was feeling the pressure a little bit. I rode kind of careful. I was pretty upset with myself in between motos, but talked to Gary Semix, refocused, and wanted to come out second moto strong.
Well, Jessman's best ever finish catapults him from 10th to 7th in the point standings, but look at the top of the leaderboard. Chad Reed is now out front, having gone from 3rd to 1st. He's got a 10-point lead on James Stewart. Here's some upcoming U.S. motocross dates on ESPN. Make sure you log on to www.usmotocross.com for more information. Well, from the 26th Annual High Point Nationals in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, I'm your host, Davey Coombs. For David Bailey and Cameron Steele, we're saying so long, everyone. An excellent day of racing for Chad Reed, a terrible day for Mike Brown and James Stewart. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.